And here we go with example 2. Now this one looks a little different here. We've got a big square root over the fraction 20 over 45. To simplify that, we've got to basically just use the properties that we were just given and just kind of mess around with a little bit and see what we know about multiplication. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to split this up, and we're going to split it into pieces. So let's split it into square root of 20 over square root of 45. Now you're going to be surprised when we get done here. This actually is going to come to a number without any square root symbol over it. Okay, now here's how we can mess around with this a little bit. Think about what times what equals 20. And I'd probably go with square root of 5 times square root of 4. And then we're going to try to see if we can figure out something that might work for 45 that hopefully has a perfect square in it. So if you think about this, I might do square root of 5 times square root of 9. Okay. From there, look at this right here. These actually cancel out. Anything divided by itself is 1, so this is 1 right there and 1 right there. And then if you look at this, what's the square root of 4? Well, it's 2. And what's the square root of 9? It's 3. So really what we're left with here is 2/3. And you can check that in your calculator by doing this in your calculator. Use the square root symbol, do a parentheses, and do the original problem, which was 20 divided by 45. And you'll see that when you close the parentheses and press enter, it will come to 2/3. Actually, it comes to 0.6 repeating. And then continuing with example 3, I'm hoping you kind of find this, as you start doing this, a little bit like a puzzle that you can solve. This one's not going to be as neat as the last one. So take a look at this. We start with square root of 7/48. Well, here's what we know. We can split that up into these two pieces. Square root of 7 over square root of 48. Now, we're going to mess around with that 48 a little bit. Think about some factors of 48 that might come out nicely. One way you can do it, you could do square root of 8 times square root of 6. And that's not as pretty, but there is one that works kind of nicely here. A little harder to see, but square root of 16 times the square root of 3. 16 times 3 is 48. Now the reason I'm using that one is because this right here is going to come to 4. Now there are other ways to get that, as you know from the previous example. So what I'll write this is, I'll keep the square root of 7 up there, but I'm going to change this to 4 times the square root of 3. And those can just be pressed together without a time symbol. Okay, now here's what we have to do. This from here, it'd be nice if we kind of say, well, can't do much more with that, but one of the rules is we can't have a radical in the denominator, in the bottom of a fraction. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep it like it is, but to get that to go away, here's how you make it vanish. We're going to multiply by 1, but when we multiply by 1, we're going to make this look like a special form. We're going to put a square root of 3 here over the square root of 3. Now the square root of 3 over the square root of 3 is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. Now the reason we're using this is this. If you look at the two square root of 3's, when you multiply those by each other, think about what they're going to become. They're going to become 3. Square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is just 3. And you can check that in your calculator to be sure. So we're going to multiply those by each other, and here's what happens. On the bottom of the fraction, what we have is, this is 3, and then we also have a 4 there, so it's 4 times 3, which is 12. Now on the top, it's the square root of 7 times the square root of 3. There's really nothing you can do with that other than you do want to put them back together. And we can do it in reverse order too. We can put these together. 7 times 3 is 21. So the square root of 7 times the square root of 3 is the square root of 21. Now we'll get used to this, but this is an acceptable form because it can't be simplified, and we don't have any radicals in the denominator. So we're good to go right here.